Hi everybody, here we go. This is session 4. This is our class in DITA for, let's get it into presentation mode. Okay, so this is session 4. This is our DITA class. This session will cover the concepts for the DITA session, as I said before. Some of these slides are repeats from past slides, and this is an online session. As we're used to seeing, we will cover DITA topics, DITA maps, command line, and how to install and use the DITA Open Toolkit. Hopefully you will have read the DITA primer here, and hopefully you will have read Letting Go of Words Chapter 6. Letting Go of Words Chapter 6 kind of tells you conceptually why we care about topics rather than documents. And then, of course, this is a look into the future. Next week, please do prepare for the quiz and prepare for the content management session, and then we'll have a walkthrough of our deliverables. So read content management chapters 1 and 2, and the Easy DITA tutorial, and watch the Drupal 8 video. Okay, so let's get right to it. DITA is good stuff. DITA will be a very good thing for you to have some background in as you learn about web tools for content providers. DITA is most definitely one of the open standards that web content providers will need to learn about. DITA stands for Darwin Information Typing Architecture. It's an OASIS open standard. It's available at that URL there on the screen. DITA is an open standard that defines an XML architecture for designing, authoring, managing, and publishing content. DITA is a topic-based system. DITA is a mature standard, broadly deployed and supported. While there are many DITA success stories out there, there are some failures. And hopefully this class will prepare you to know how to not end up in a failure. So the number of DITA topics and maps per output, their nesting and hierarchy usually causes complexity, making a content management system necessary. DITA operations require many roles. There's the information architect, the writer, the editor, the system administrator, the publishing specialist, and the translation coordinator. We'll touch on all of these roles, and if any of these resonate for you, I'd be happy to give you a little bit more background on any of those. So this is from my old website. This is rendered DITA. This is a data sheet. You can see that this is an HTML version of the data sheet, and that it's what you can't see, but I'll tell you is that we manage this. We create it in our DITA component content management system, and then we publish it to our web content management system, Drupal. Okay, so this is what it likes in our component content management tool. This is not the one we'll use for class, but this is the one that my work uses. This particular data sheet has about 200 topics and maps and a bunch of images as well. This is kind of the user interface, so we can see here that all of these, this is a master map, and then it has individual maps for each of the sections, each of which calls a bunch of topics and images. So this is the code view of DITA. This is a map. As you can see, we have the map as the root element. We have topic refs that refer to particular topics. The format is DITA. In this case, we're calling a concept, and we have a navigational title for each of these. This is what a DITA topic looks like. In this case, we're looking at a reference topic. It has an ID, has a title, and then it has some of the, in this case, a bulleted list. So DITA is topic-based. What do we mean by that? So topic-based is a relatively new way of thinking. It's covered somewhat in the text that we read, Letting Go of Words. But basically, what we're used to is a document-centric world where we create documents. They may end up as big PDF files, usually starting with a table of contents with a whole bunch of chapters and so forth, ending with an index and everything in between. Before DITA, topic-based authoring was the prevailing standard. In fact, a really good topic-based authoring open standard is DocBook, which I still like. It has its purposes. DocBook is an open standard. It's widely used and widely supported by the tools. But in DocBook, all of the topics that make up a document are in one single file. So if you consider this PDF file, this is page 1 of 26 pages of a printed PDF file. DocBook, you would see that all of those topics would be made up of in one giant file, a single file. Now, that's okay if all you ever have to publish is that single file, but more and more, as we learned in our reading, readers, customers, visitors to websites are interested in seeing just what they want to see. They don't want to have to download the whole topic, the whole PDF file, the whole PDF file in order to find just the nugget they're looking for. So because requirements change, the document authoring system changed, and in order to usher in topic-based authoring, DITA became the prevailing open standard for topic-based authoring. So DITA is available, as I said before, at this URL. It's an open standard. It's widely used, widely supported by tools. And in DITA, all of the topics that make up a document are separate, standalone files that can be reused across many documents. That's kind of the strength of DITA. So if we look at this same data sheet, only from a DITA perspective, there are, as I said, about 200 topics and maps. 60 topics are reused in other publications. That is to say, like for example, this topic here, or these 3 topics, might be used in user manuals, other manuals, and other data sheets. So this is the way it works. So topics are separate standalone files. So we have a single map that calls the introduction, the key performance specs, and other things. So then it goes out and it finds the introduction.dita file, the key performance underscore specs.dita file, and all of these are floating around in the repository. So think of it in terms of, let's just say that we have 3 different documents. We're using the word document. Each of these documents reuses some of the same topics back and forth. So we have a data sheet document that calls the key analysis feature, the key protocol feature, and the introduction and the key performance. Independent of the data sheet, we might have a user manual that also calls the key analysis feature, the general safety topic, and the front panel. In addition to that, we may have the instrument online help, which calls the key performance specification, the general safety topic, and the installation topic. So you can see that even in this very small, very simple, understated example, we have topics that are written independent of their document output, but then called by different maps in order to create different outputs. On the other hand, if we were to do that in DocBook, which is document-centric, we have this one big XML file, and in order to call out these topics to use in independent publications, we would have to do some real complicated programming. So document-centric programming is not meant to solve the same problems as topic-based authoring. Okay, so that was just the difference between document-centric versus topic-based authoring. Let's then spend the rest of our time talking about topic-based authoring and DITA. So the parts of DITA are topics. We have the concept topic, the reference topic, and the task topic. We also have maps. There's the DITA map and book map. There's other stuff in DITA, but we're not going to talk about those in this class. So let's start off with DITA topics. Topics are the basic unit of DITA content. The topic's scope is a single subject. The topic is short enough to be specific to that single subject or to answer a single question, but it needs to be long enough to make sense on its own and be authored as a standalone unit. So in other words, a topic can't say, see the specification below if the specification below is not in the same topic. So as I said, there are 3 basic types of topic, you can actually have a generic or an untyped topic. This is sometimes called the cheater topic, but it's not a best practice because it's not really specialized for task, reference, or concept. But basically, you have the topic document type declaration, and you have some things that can go into a generic topic. But that's, as I said, not considered the best use. The best use is to use a specific topic for the kind of task or the topic that you have in mind. One of which is the concept topic. The concept topic answers what is question. The concept topic should be standalone, short enough to provide an overview or background information for tasks or reference topics. But keep in mind the context of the concept topic is not meant to provide task or topic or reference information, and it's not guaranteed to be in the same map as those. All concept topics must be written to stand alone on their own. So the concept topic looks something like this. You have a doc type declaration that refers to the concept DTD, and the concept has a con body and then elements that are specific to concepts. The next is the reference topic. The reference topic is sometimes called just the facts ma'am topic. That came from an old TV show called Dragnet, where the main character would just say, just the facts ma'am. Hopefully it's an expression that you're familiar with. The reference topic should be standalone or show examples of concept or list values associated with the task. But keep in mind the examples or values of the reference topic is meant to provide for the task or concept cannot be guaranteed to accompany that task or concept in all maps. So a reference topic must be written to stand alone on its own. And the reference XML has the doc type declaration of reference and a reference DTD, and then it has different kinds of elements that are specific for references. And then finally the task topic. How do I is the question that it answers. The task topic is empowered to thoroughly document a procedure, but its contextual and reference information should be contained separately in a concept or reference topic. Keep in mind that the procedure task topic is meant to show the procedure the task topic is meant to show cannot be guaranteed to be accompanied by the task or reference topics. I think I wrote that a little bit incorrectly there. All task topics must be written to stand on their own. So it looks kind of like this. Task doc type declaration, which points to a task DTD, and then it has steps and things that are unique to documenting tasks. So in order to tie those all together, we have this notion of the DITA map. Maps are mechanisms in DITA that enable topics to be organized for creating outputs or archives. Maps enable order and hierarchy of set of topics. Maps come in two formats, DITA map and book map. The DITA map is a map that enables links to topics. The DITA map enables links to other maps, and the DITA map provides holders for metadata. The DITA map allows relationship tables. For this class, we won't be talking about the relationship tables, but just know that they exist. So the DITA map looks something like this. It has a map doc type declaration, which points to a map DTD, and then we have a title, and then we have references to different topics or different maps. Maps in that sense can be nested. The book map is a specialized version of the DITA map that provides specific mechanisms for adding book-centric markup to enable turnkey book publications. The book map provides a syntax for adding things like front matter and back matter, parts, chapters, and appendices, and book metadata. Again, it has a book map doc type declaration which points to a book map DTD, and we have book-specific elements in the book map. And again, it maps to different topics in the out in the world. Images. Images can be handled using the image element to point to an image file using the href attribute. If you're adding a caption to an image, it's advised to put it in an image element inside a figure element and use the title to add the caption. So here's a concept with a caption and an image. So we have a concept Within it we have figure and the title, which is the caption, and then the image element with an href to where that image resolves on the file system or in the content management system. Okay, so in this class we will be using EasyDITA as our component content management system, but as I say in all matters with this class, I want the students in this class to understand the underlying concept. In this case, almost all content management systems use the DITA Open Toolkit. We are going to do an exercise using the DITA Open Toolkit at the command line just to understand how it works. So the DITA Open Toolkit transforms DITA XML source content into deliverables like PDF, HTML, and help systems. Nearly every DITA tool has a version of the DITA Open Toolkit integrated into its framework. The DITA Open Toolkit is open source. It's available out here, or that URL. The standalone DITA Open Toolkit is run at the command line. If you work in a DITA operation, you or somebody on the team will need to get involved in the DITA Open Toolkit at some point. It might as well be you. Your pay and the degree to which you are perceived as vital to the operation will increase if you're known as the one who knows how to use the DITA Open Toolkit. As I said before, you will probably not need to do your work in the DITA Open Toolkit, but there will come a time when you will need to do, or somebody will need to do troubleshooting in the DITA Open Toolkit. Okay, so let's do an exercise. I'll walk through the steps of this exercise, and then I'll actually do the exercise. So what we're going to do is we're going to download and extract the DITA Open Toolkit. We go to D2L Course Content Resources, and we download the PSU-DITA-Open Toolkit-2.2.0.zip file, and also download the DITA sample file. We'll extract the DITA Open Toolkit, place it into the WT4CP/DITA folder that we created in class 2. We'll extract the DITA sample and we'll place that in the same place. So we'll have our WT4CP/DITA directory or folder, and within it we'll put the DITA sample and the DITA Open Toolkit. We'll then navigate to the DITA Open Toolkit and we'll create a new folder called PSU. We will navigate to the PSU, we'll navigate to our DITA samples directory under the WT4CP/DITA directory, and we'll copy that, what's inside the PSU folder, into the folder that we just made in the DITA Open Toolkit. We'll invoke the command line. There are different ways to do that based on your operating system. If we're in Windows, then we will double-click the start cmd.bat file. If we're in Mac, we'll have to navigate to that directory, and we'll type sh space start command.sh. When you do that, you will see a note that talks about the start.cmd file being deprecated, and then I sort of hacked that file, and I put a secondary note saying that's okay, that for this class I've created some variables that I want us to use for this class. It will all work. So that then we're going to test it. We'll type Java -version. Hopefully we'll see a affirmative message. If not, we'll need to go to install the Java JDK from oracle.com. I can walk you through that if you have trouble with that. And then we'll want to test the ant version by typing ant -version. Hopefully we'll see something affirmative like that. If you get an error like unable to locate tools.jar, etc., don't worry. The DITA Open Toolkit should still work just fine. Using the DITA Open Toolkit is much easier than the ant, so you just type DITA -f for the file name, -f, that's your map name, -i for the file and the options. So for example, so we're going to type, an example here is DITA -input, and that's mymap.ditamap -format, we'll say we want HTML5, -output, we'll just say we want to put it in the output folder of my PSU out. That's not actually what we're going to do in the exercise, but that's just an example of the command line. You can create plugins that will allow you to add new values for this parameter. By default, the following options are available. So these are the outputs that we can do. DocBook, Eclipse Help, etc., etc., etc. For this class, we'll be using HTML5, HTML5 and PDF. No, we'll be using PDF and XHTML, sorry. Okay, so then we're going to want to compile the sample, so we'll change directories there. We'll just type this command line, and then we will press return. We may see this error file or this error message. If so, don't worry about it. And then we will observe the output. So let's go with that. So we'll start here on step 1, and I will do all of these things too. So here we are, step 1. We'll download. Let's move this out here. Let's move this over here. So in a previous exercise, we downloaded or we created this web content for web tools for content providers directory, and I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller so we can see. And we created these folders here. We said to go to the to download everything into the downloads directory. So in the downloads directory, you should have your PSU OpenToolkit.zip, and you should have your DITA samples.zip. So you just unzip those, and we'll go into first PSU OpenToolkit, and we're going to grab that, and we're going to Control C in Windows, Apple C in Mac, and we're going to go back to our root directory here. We'll go into our DITA directory, and we'll Control V or Command V or Apple V, and we'll paste that into our DITA file, our DITA folder, excuse me. And then while that's processing, I'm also going to go back into my downloads directory where I unzipped the DITA samples file, and I'm going to copy that. In Windows, it's Control C, and I'm going to go back to my DITA directory. Oops, I needed to do something, so I'll go back to downloads, DITA samples, and in this case I actually have to go into DITA samples because it created 2 directories, and I'm going to copy the PSU directory, Control C, and I'm going to go back into web content for wait. Okay, I got mixed up. I'm going to go, sorry about that. As I say before, as I said many times, unless I make an egregious mistake, I'm just going to keep rolling. So I need to go into this DITA sample and copy this whole directory, copy, and go back into my DITA directory and paste that so that I've got these 2 side by side. Okay. So now I want to, so if we go then back into the steps here, the next step I've done steps 1 through 5. I'm going to want to navigate to this directory and in the DITA OpenToolkit and create a new folder called PSU. Okay, so I'll go here, and I'm going to right-click in Windows and say New Folder, and I'm going to call it PSU. Okay, and then going back to our steps here, I will go to step 7, which is to navigate into the sample directory into the PSU folder and copy everything in there and then paste it into the PSU directory in the OpenToolkit. Okay, so I'm going to go into DITA, and I'm going to go into this sample directory. I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to select all of this stuff. Okay, I could just say click on the first one and then hold down my shift key and then click on the last one, and I have everything. I'm going to do Control C because I'm in Windows. If I were in Mac, I would do Apple C. I'm going to go back into my PSU directory, in the DITA OpenToolkit. I'm going to go Control V, and all of those files are here. Now I'm going to take just a second to look at the what we're going to be calling. We're going to be calling the mymap.ditamap, I think. Here, let me check. The command line will be map1.ditamap. So let's look at map1.ditamap. This is a ditamap, and it calls all of these concepts, one of which is concept with image. So let's look at that file. concept with image, and we see that we have concept with image, and it has some content, and it uses the fig and the image, and it calls this image in the images directory with that file name. So I'll go in here and I'll see, yep, I indeed have that image. It does have that file name. So everything's good. Okay, so then let's see here, that was step 7. Okay, so we've done step 7. Now we're going to invoke the command line. There are several different ways that you can do that. And we've gone over this. Hopefully you did this in your exercises in class 2. So for me, I have already, I would go into all apps, and I would scroll down to Windows System, and I would find my command prompt there, and I'd click it once, and I have it there. But in Windows, I don't have to do that. You have to do that in Map. In Windows, excuse me, and the Mac. In Windows, all I need to do is navigate to that directory and double-click my Start command. In Mac, you would need to go into the navigate to that directory and type sh space start command .sh. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and I know that I'm going to see this message when I do so. So I'm going to go into my PSU DITA Open Toolkit, and I'm going to double click on my start command, and it created this command prompt here, and it has the little note that I added. So I'm going to press enter, and then it creates my actual DITA Open Toolkit interface. So from here, I will go then to step 8, and I'm going to test my Java. Java space minus version. Oh, I misspelled it. JAVA space minus version. And I got an affirmative message. Okay, and then I'm going to type ant minus version. And I got this unable to find, but then I did get the affirmative version here. So everything's good. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about seeing that message. Then I'm going to go on to step 10, and I'm going to type exactly what I see on the screen there. And as you've seen before in class, sometimes I fat finger it, so let's hope I don't. DITA minus input minus I. My input is PSU directory slash MAP1 dot DITA MAP. Hopefully there are no typos there. Space. My format I want is minus F, and let's go with PDF. Okay, and then my output directory I want is space minus O, letter O, space, and I'm going to put it in PD or PSU OUT. So that'll be the directory. And then I'm going to press enter or return. And I got this message, but I'm not going to worry about that. And it's thinking. I think during the Mac during this time, what you would see is the actual Java icon would show up. So it came back with no errors. So that's good news. So I'm going to navigate to my PSU out directory. So it created this new directory, PSU out, and I'm going to observe the PDF file. And sure enough, it made it found all of these topics, including the image, and it created this PDF file for me. So hopefully you had success. If not, please let me know, and I can walk you through that. Okay, so just a couple more slides here. Advanced DITA. So here we are on the road to advanced DITA. So in this class, we're only talking about introductory DITA. But so we have this foundational knowledge that we gained in this class. What is XML? Why do we care? We know that XML is elements, attributes, that there's well-formed versus valid, and we learned about XSL. Building DITA, we learned about DITA topics, DITA maps, and images, and then processing DITA at the command line using the DITA Open Toolkit. And we'll also learn about CMS, and we'll learn about EasyDITA. So on the road to advanced DITA, there are a lot of things that you would learn, and these are taught in the DITA class. Information architecture, content reuse, specialization, graphics and their impact, translation, and best practices. So in this particular class, this session, let's just talk about the first bullet there, information architecture. So information architecture is an establishment of an environment that fosters structured authoring, compliance with business standards, delivery of content in a variety of contexts, and support for multiple output media. An information architect is responsible for establishing a framework in which consistent, reliable content is produced and delivered to consumers, and doing so in a way that promotes business goals of the organization. The duties of the information architecture are to integrate, understand, articulate customer requirements, define a DITA environment optimized to reflect customer requirements, to define business rules optimized to support customer requirements, to create DITA structures that support content reuse, to model metadata, to create usable DITA authoring environments, to develop standards for content assembly, publication, and maintenance, and to create DITA structures that support content reuse. Again, model metadata. Oh, it looks like I'm repeating myself there. Okay, that's interesting. I have started to repeat the bullets. As I said, unless I make an egregious error, I'm just going to keep plowing through. So those are the slides for today. Hopefully you were able to get through the exercise. Please let me know if you had any trouble at all, and I will be happy to help you. Thank you. See you in class.